Steve Jobs was a man who saw the future. He didn't just predict it, he built it with his own hands and brilliant mind. When you hold an iPhone or use a Mac, you are touching a piece of his legacy. He was the co-founder of Apple, a company that completely changed how we listen to music, communicate with each other, and interact with technology every single day. His story is not just about creating amazing gadgets, it's a tale of passion, determination, and the powerful idea that one person can truly change the world. He believed that technology should be beautiful, simple, and a joy to use, a philosophy that continues to inspire innovators everywhere. His journey began in a very humble way. Born in San Francisco in 1955, he was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, a loving couple who lived in Mountain View, California. This area would later become known as Silicon Valley, the heart of the world's technology industry. Paul Jobs was a machinist and a wonderful craftsman who taught young Steve the importance of paying attention to detail. He would show him how to build things in the family garage, instilling a deep appreciation for design and engineering. This upbringing shaped Steve's belief that the parts you couldn't see were just as important as the parts you could, a lesson he would apply to every product he ever created. From a young age, Steve was fascinated by electronics. He was a curious and often rebellious kid who found school boring but was captivated by the inner workings of gadgets. His neighborhood was filled with engineers from Hewlett-Packard, and he was surrounded by the exciting new world of technology. One day, he famously looked up Bill Hewlett, one of HP's founders, in the phone book, and called him to ask for spare parts to build a frequency counter. Impressed by the boy's confidence, Hewlett not only gave him the parts, but also offered him a summer job, giving him his first real taste of the professional tech world. During his time at Homestead High School, a pivotal meeting occurred that would alter the course of modern technology forever. He met Steve Wozniak, who everyone called Woz. Wozniak was a few years older and was a true electronics wizard, brilliant at designing complex circuits with an almost magical simplicity. The two Steves shared a love for electronics and a mischievous sense of humor. They bonded over pranks and their shared passion for pushing boundaries. This unique friendship, combining Wozniak's technical genius with Jobs' visionary ambition, created the perfect partnership. Together, they were about to start a revolution that no one saw coming. The legendary story of Apple's beginning is famously set in a garage. In 1976, Jobs and Wozniak officially founded Apple Computer. They started in the garage of Steve's parents' home in Los Altos, California. It was a classic startup scene, filled with circuit boards, wires, and big dreams. Jobs was the visionary, pushing Wozniak to turn his incredible designs into products people would actually want to buy. Their first product was the Apple I, a computer circuit board that Wozniak had brilliantly designed. It was a machine for hobbyists, but Jobs saw the potential for something much, much bigger. A personal computer for everyone. Their hard work quickly paid off with the creation of the Apple II. This was not just a circuit board, it was a complete, user-friendly personal computer designed for regular people, not just engineers. Launched in 1977, the Apple II was a massive success. It had a sleek plastic case, a proper keyboard, and it could display color graphics, which was revolutionary at the time. This machine transformed Apple from a small garage operation into a major player in the nascent computer industry. It brought computing out of the labs and into homes, schools, and offices, making Apple a household name and making its young founders very wealthy. As Apple grew, Steve Jobs continued to push for innovation. He was obsessed with creating products that were insanely great. His next big project was the Macintosh, released in 1984. The Macintosh was a groundbreaking computer because it introduced the world to the graphical user interface, with its windows, icons, and a mouse for navigation. Instead of typing complicated commands, users could simply point and click. This made computers intuitive and accessible to millions of people who had previously found them intimidating. The Macintosh set a new standard for personal computing, emphasizing ease of use and elegant design. However, the journey was not without its challenges. Jobs was known for being a demanding and often difficult leader. His intense passion and uncompromising standards created a high-pressure environment at Apple. While his vision was the driving force behind the company's greatest successes, his management style caused friction with other executives and the company's board of directors. This conflict was growing, and despite the triumph of the Macintosh, a storm was gathering on the horizon for Apple's charismatic co-founder. The stage was set for one of the most dramatic twists in corporate history. In a shocking turn of events, Steve Jobs was forced out of the very company he had co-founded. In 1985, following a power struggle with the CEO he had hired, John Sculley, the Apple board sided against Jobs. At just 30 years old, the man who had poured his heart and soul into Apple was suddenly on the outside, looking in. He later described this experience as devastating, feeling like he had let everyone down. For many, this would have been the end of the story. But for Steve Jobs, it was a painful but necessary chapter that would ultimately lead to his greatest accomplishments. It was a period of reinvention. Never one to stay down for long, Jobs used his time away from Apple to explore new ideas. He founded a new computer company called Next. The Next computer was technologically advanced and beautifully designed, but it was too expensive to be a commercial success. However, the powerful software system it ran on would become incredibly important later. At the same time, he bought a small computer graphics company from George Lucas and renamed it Pixar. He invested his own money and transformed it from a hardware seller into a revolutionary animation studio, believing in the power of computer-generated storytelling. While Jobs was building new ventures, Apple was struggling without him. The company lost its innovative edge and its products became uninspired and confusing. By the mid-1990s, the once dominant tech giant was on the brink of failure. It was clear that Apple had lost the vision and leadership that only its co-founder could provide. In a desperate move to save the company, Apple made a decision that would change everything. In 1997, it acquired Next, not just for its technology, but to bring Steve Jobs back as an advisor, which soon led to him becoming the interim CEO. His return to Apple marked one of the most remarkable comebacks in business history. The company he came back to was a mess, but Jobs worked quickly and decisively. He simplified the product line, cutting dozens of confusing models to focus on just a few great ones. He launched the iconic Think Different advertising campaign to restore the brand's creative soul. He re-energized the employees and brought back a culture of innovation and excellence. With his vision once again at the helm, Apple was poised to not only recover, but to embark on a period of unprecedented success that would redefine the entire technology landscape. With Steve Jobs back in control, Apple entered its most creative and successful era. He orchestrated a string of hit products that forever changed entire industries. In 2001, he introduced the iPod, a sleek device that put 1,000 songs in your pocket. Paired with the iTunes Store, it revolutionized the music industry. Then in 2007, he unveiled the product that would define his legacy, the iPhone. It was a magical product, combining a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator into one elegant device with a revolutionary multi-touch screen. The iPhone didn't just change the phone market, it created the modern smartphone era we live in today. Jobs' genius was his ability to blend technology with the liberal arts. He understood that for a product to be truly great, it wasn't enough for it to be powerful. It also had to be beautiful, intuitive, and a pleasure to use. This philosophy was evident in every detail, from the smooth curves of an iPhone to the satisfying click of a button on the screen. He obsessed over fonts, colors, and materials, believing that design was not just what something looked like, but how it worked. This focus on the user experience is what set Apple products apart and created millions of loyal fans around the globe. His vision extended beyond just hardware. He created a seamless ecosystem where hardware, software, and services worked together perfectly. The App Store, launched in 2008, created a whole new economy for software developers and turned the iPhone into a versatile tool for everything from gaming to productivity. Later, the iPad created an entirely new category of device between the smartphone and the laptop. Each new product was not just an invention, but a carefully crafted piece of a larger puzzle, designed to enrich people's lives through technology. His goal, as he often said, was to make a dent in the universe. Today, Steve Jobs is remembered as one of the greatest innovators of our time. He was a creative genius whose relentless drive and uncompromising vision transformed modern life. He proved that with passion, focus, and an obsession with quality, one person could challenge the status quo and create tools that empower people and change the world for the better. His legacy isn't just in the devices we carry in our pockets, it's in the idea that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. He dared to think different, and in doing so, he inspired a generation to do the same.